Okay, good morning everybody. How are we all doing today? Good. Good. So, to begin the class, I'd just like to introduce a fine gentleman who has blessed us with his presence today. He's been kind enough to come and participate in a presentation that I'm doing, an assessment that I have today for McGill. So, admittedly, as Jimmy just said, I'm a little nervous as well. This is Jimmy Etab, Mr. Jimmy Etab. He's been kind enough to come and talk about some of his experiences with us about racism and residential schools. So our plan for today is going to be first a 4-minute introductory video on racism, okay? Then we're going to do an interactive study online. That's why you have in front of you, or you will have in front of you, some tablets. Then we're going to read and reflect a little bit. We're going to do a little skit, Jimmy and I. It's going to be a short little skit, maybe a 5-minute skit. And then Jimmy will give a presentation that he gave to me, a conversation that we had together, a very profound conversation, a very emotional one. And it's going to be a very valuable, reflective piece for you guys as a part of the process of moving through the book in this unit. I think it was very profound, and it's going to give us a lot of insight into the emotions involved with what we're reading. So thank you, Jimmy, for coming here today. I really appreciate it. Without further ado, allow us to begin the class. I just gotta load this. It seems, sorry, it logged out of my thing already, so I have, because there's a time limit on it. So 1 moment, please.
Have you had many students, other students in class this week? Class? Brittany was here yesterday.
Yeah.
Darlene? Where's Darlene this week?
She's here.
She's right. I don't see her. Is she lying down?
Hiding under.
Invisible Darlene. Darlene is here.
Okay, so here's the video. Also, we do have a baby in the classroom today, guys, so I'm going to keep the volume a little lower than usual, okay? So we don't disturb Cutie that we have here today. Okay. Here we go. And if it's too loud, just let me know, okay?
I thought that was
Israel.
Darlene.
Okay, never mind, never mind.
The events that happened in Ottawa. We're going to see if people feel.
Yes, so this is in response, this video here is in response to, I'm not sure if you guys remember, the shooting that happened in Ottawa, the capital, a few years ago, or last year I think it was. So a man, a fanatic, a religious fanatic, attacked a man in Ottawa and shot him dead. And these three gentlemen, were doing an experiment, a social experiment, to see how Canadians would react if they saw somebody discriminating against a Sikh man in public, in Hamilton, Ontario.
Let's see what happens. You know, are you planning on taking the bus? I'd suggest that you take another ride then. We'll look how he's dressed.
So, you can't stereotype and judge people by their clothes, or their nationality, or anything else. You know what I mean? What happened there? It was an incident of fanatics.
I do understand.
Everybody should not be punished like that. We did that in the States in 9/11. It was crazy. So,
I mean,
I'm sorry, but
I-
he's a friend of mine. I'm with him too.
I would not.
It was awful and tragic.
Right.
I don't think there's any reason to persecute someone just because of what they're wearing.
Well, he could be armed with explosives.
So could I.
Yeah,
As
he
a
could
matter
be.
of fact, I used to blow things up.
Okay.
And I'm not in any religious sect. I was a fanatic.
No, he's with me.
Is he with your group?
No, he's
Yeah.
with me. He's with you?
And,
You want to take responsibility for his actions? No, I can't actually. Yeah.
How many friends of mine when I was there, you know what? True Muslims do not believe in that
You think that's ridiculous? Yeah, I'm just trying to look out for you guys. So you didn't pick up in the so I don't think you do another bus. I don't think this is safe. My plan is that this bus could be in danger after what happened with Harrison Heights and Ottawa. We don't. Okay. So we could have mental health issues too. I could, but like I said, I don't dress like this, and I don't want that to happen in Hamilton. So I'm trying to. Well, I'm trying to look out for you guys. I mean, I don't want you going on the bus with Okay, cool. Okay. But, I mean, you know. That's, you know what, that's a big of a circumstance. That's just, they're saying ice. Right. What if he has explosive strapped to him? Do you guys do that? Sir, excuse me, you have to come with me? Why's he gotta go with you? So I want to get him away from this building. No, you stay right where you're at. What? You stay here. No, but it's a social experiment. It's a social experiment. No, it's a social experiment. To be honest, I don't know what so. No, I like there's the guy came up from behind me, so. No problem. You're good to go, though, okay? Alright, sounds good. Sounds good. So, I mean, the social experiment had a negative ending to it, but, you know, it's positive because he stood up for him, and I appreciate that. That's good. That's good.
Okay, I would just like to quickly clarify that it is important to stand up for people who are being discriminated against. However, violence is not the answer. Okay? You must use your words. What that man did, punching him in the face, is the negative way to approach racism. Okay? What the other man did, standing at the bus stop, confronting him with his words, that was the proper way to deal with racism. Okay? You must use your words. As Gandhi once said, be the change you want to be in the world. Okay, so now we have a quick survey that I wanted to do with you guys. It is on that website that I have written up on the board, kahoot.it. So log in to the tablets that you have in front of you, please. The password is student, STUDENT. Jimmy, I have a printed form for you to complete. So follow along. Here you go. And so once you're logged in to student, go onto that website, please, Kahoot. And I will know if you're participating, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in the classroom. That means there should be 5 nicknames up on the board here. Okay? So, when you get to kahoot.it, it will ask you to sign in to the survey, and you will have to type in this number, okay, when you get in. So 356968 is the number you're going to be typing in, okay? Yeah. So we'll type that number in. I'll wait until all of you have your nickname up on the board because they will show up in front of me here. And no bad words or bad names, please, because I can just click on those names right here if I want to, and they'll be deleted. So just be respectful, please, and put up kind words on the board. No bad words, especially for the little baby. Okay?
Obvious.
I do apologize for those coarse words on the video. I didn't expect that today.
Game pin.
Okay. Blazer. I like that one. That's a good one. So we have Blazer, Mariah, Deeposh. So we need 3 more because Emily is going to participate, I do believe.
That's so cool. How did you do it?
You want some help, Ray?
It's good.
You good? Okay. Thank you for coming to class today. All you need to do is type in a nickname for the quiz that we're about to do, okay? Okay, so I need 3 more players, guys. I need 3 more players here. All right. Are you signed in?
Yeah.
You signed in? No, you're signing in. Destiny, you signed in?
What's that? You write your percent?
Any number possible, please.
The number.
Okay, 2 more. Guys, we do have to hurry though, because I gotta get through a lot of this class, please. So I want Jimmy to have as much time as he needs for.
Excuse me.
Yes. Oh, I'm in the way. Okay. So guys, I'm starting in 10 seconds. I need you guys to log in, please. Destiny, are you good? Okay, so 10 seconds and I'm starting, otherwise you can't participate. Okay, here we go. 5, food. I like that one. Ray of sunshine. Okay, we're good to go here. Oh, okay, I'll wait for you. And laughing cow. All right, here we go.
It's not me. Must be
Are
Destiny.
you in?
Yeah.
Great, great.
Wait. Am I in?
Yeah, you're in. Okay, here we go. So start. So we'll go through these quickly, okay? Because we don't have too much time. Your best friend starts dating a Latino American, okay? How do you feel about this? Very comfortable, uncomfortable, neutral, or comfortable?
Yeah. What?
You guys gotta put these in. Finished. Okay. So we have 3 people saying they're uncomfortable. 1 says they're kind of neutral about the situation. 1 is comfortable with it, and 2 are very uncomfortable about it. So this gives you just a reflection of how some people might feel in a certain situation like that, okay?
I want to say very, very comfortable.
I also clicked on the wrong one.
So, you go into a Japanese restaurant where all the patrons and employers are Asian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oops.
Okay, so we're moving a little more towards the comfortable side of things here, right? Okay. 3 are neutral, 2 are comfortable, 1 is a little uncomfortable. Okay, so you realize you're the only person of your race when you visit a community. Someone has an opinion about the matter, I think. So very uncomfortable, uncomfortable, neutral, comfortable. There were only 4 options I could put here. The other one I was going to put was very comfortable. But I felt like comfortable and very comfortable were sort of in the same boat. Okay, so we have a lot of neutrals for this one. You realize the only person of your race when you visit a community. A Saudi Arabian sits down next to you on a crowded bus, very similar to the video we watched. Okay? Very uncomfortable, uncomfortable, neutral, comfortable. Okay? Okay, we have a lot of neutrals again. Somebody's very uncomfortable about this. Okay, another person is a little uncomfortable. Somebody's neutral, and somebody's comfortable. Now, this is a very interesting reflection of the society we live in today because of terrorism and the situations we have. But as we saw in the video, it's very important to look at these things with an open mind, okay? And to realize that not all people should be judged and characterized in certain ways, okay? Now, I don't want to take too much time for this because I want Jimmy to get as much time as possible. So we'll just do one more. Your new doctor went to medical school in India. Very uncomfortable, uncomfortable, neutral, comfortable, okay? As this last one is going down, I'm going to hand out these. We're not going to do these in class today. They're just going to be for you guys to think about and possibly do for homework, okay? Okay, so lots of neutral again and a lot of comfortable with 1 or 2 being very uncomfortable and uncomfortable. Okay, so you guys get the general idea of the survey, the point of the survey. It was just to show you guys that there are different opinions all the time in even a small group like this. Okay, so the way in which one person thinks about something may not be the way that another person thinks about something. Okay, so please now just make sure you turn off your tablets and just switch them over, please, because we're going to do an important part of the class with Jimmy now. Sorry, I was just checking if my thing was still recording. Okay, so Jimmy, if you wouldn't mind coming to the front of the class. We'll start the reading in a second, but I wanted to have a quick discussion with the students first. So maybe you wanted to talk to them a little bit about it too, about the video we watched, and about some of the questions that we have on the sheet that we just handed out.
You have to answer these.
They're just some questions to think about that I want you guys to think about when you go home. Okay. And you can go on that website again and do the quiz again if you wanted to with that code. So think about how your friends and family might have reacted, or how they might have completed the questionnaire. Okay, so how your family and how people in your own family might have reacted in the same situation. Do you have any comments, Jimmy, before we start the second part of the class?
Yeah.
Okay, please go ahead.
Alluding Creek,
Absolutely, please, that'd be awesome.
Creekish.
Greenish?
English, by all means, please, yeah.
Okay, good morning. I was asked by a friend here to work with him on about this book, do a role play, and then after do an introduction myself. We obviously knew that it's job people now, the time to still did not hold on to obviously now Indian horse because brought me back to memories of being in a residential school. And we do this role play get I do it do the needs. How much can I experience? I do that gas, my what's got school and no season chief and the okay, do them. It's when to go here, it's dark cool to go guys, sweet the real we asked we go without you. But I got guys that was my really and guys with chicken and guys with chicken. We all want to do it. John is you to not into much we tiny. Was it now discriminating on that? You go listen. Whether it is changing change question, so how can you coverage to another? As you reach in, just later on, just started. She said, "Was him shop?" I think I'll stay again. Wash here, I got that again. I can be on from here. So I guess we can go ahead with it.
Absolutely. Okay, so I just want to thank Jimmy again because some of the parts in this book can be very hard to read. And I really appreciate him coming in to do this because it brings him back certain memories, and he agreed to do this, and it really means a lot to me, and I hope it means a lot to you while we do this. So please, to follow along, please turn in to page 132 in the Indian Horse book, and I'm going to have you guys participate and read a little bit as well, okay? So I'm going to play the part of the mean white man in the story. Jimmy is going to play the part of Virgil. And then I'm going to have you guys read Saul's narration part, and then Ray's going to read some of the parts that Saul actually says, quotes from Saul in the book, okay? So I'll read the first paragraph, and then Colin, if you could read this second paragraph here up until the jukebox stopped, okay? And then we'll go in a clockwise motion, and I'll point to you when you read, okay? And like I said, I'll read the quote for the man from the bar, and Jimmy will read Virgil. Okay? So, then we ran into the black part. Oh, sorry, that's for in a second. Then we ran into the black heart of northern Ontario in the 1960s. And we were hated. Hated. There's no other word for it. The Moose came out of the bush as a team that wanted to prove itself against the best competition around. We arrived in those towns as hockey players, expecting them to play a square game, stick to stick, end to end, fair and equal. But they only ever saw us as Indians. They only ever saw brown faces where white ones should have been. We were an unwelcome entity in their midst, and when we won it, when we won, it only made things worse. Colin, go ahead. Starting from right here. Yeah, chapter 2.
Chaplew was a mill town east of Wawa, and the tournament there drew teams from as far away as Timmins and Sumner. A lot of pride was on the line. The games were scrappy and tough. It took everything we had to wrest the championship game from the
Sault Ste. Marie.
Sault Ste. Marie team. But we did it. It was a long drive back to Manitowocz.
Yeah.
Manitowocz, and the boys all had to work the next day. We decided to spend some of our winnings on a meal in Devon.
Good.
A small town outside of Chapleau. There wasn't much to the place, but the cafe and the hotel looked okay. When we walked through the door, we could see another door that led to a bar. Whenever the door swung open, we could hear the sound of a
Jukebox.
and the laughter of men. We were the only ones in the cab. We took 4 tables by the window overlooking the street. The waitress took our orders, and we were recounting the game highlights and laughing when the man entered. He took a long look at us before retreating into the bar. None of us gave it a thought. Then the music from the jukebox stopped.
Okay, Destiny, you can move on from there. I look. You boys got kind of big for your britches. Oh, sorry. It's okay, let's go on.
No idea what you mean.
Well, you win a little hockey tournament, and then you think you got the right to come in here and eat like white people?
We're only here to eat. We didn't set out to copy anybody.
Don't get cute with me, boy.
Boy, what do you mean? How do big men grow? How do they grow, men? Where you come from?
Plenty bigger than you.
Just what the hell do you mean?
Well, thing is, you gotta earn the right to eat here.
We pay just like everybody else.
We don't eat with Indians.
I don't recall asking you to join us.
The man smiled. Then he reached out and clamped a hand on Virgil's shoulder. It's not your place to ask for anything. You want to eat here, you gotta fight for it.
What are you talking about?
Well, whenever you get Indians uppity enough to want to eat here, we take them outside to a little place in the alley out back we call Moccasin Square Garden. You walk back in here from the garden, and you can eat all you want. So we're going to march you out, and one at a time, see who's man enough to make it back.
Sounds fun.
You first.
Save my spot, Saul. I'll be right back.
The line of men walked Virgil out, and 3 more stepped from the door of the bar to block our passage. They had axe handles in their hands. We sat in shock, not knowing what to do. The waitress and the cook stood together in the kitchen, murmuring to each other. There was a sound of slushy traffic from the street. A police car slid by, and we flicked looks at each other. The team sat ramrod, straight in our chairs. They walked Virgil back in. He was bloody around the mouth, and there was a cut on his temple. He wiped his mouth with the back of his hand, and as he sat down and stared at his hands, which he folded on the table. Then they walked another of us out. For the next 20 minutes, they came in and took one member of the moose after another. Each time they brought someone back, the smell of urine got stronger. When only I was left, the tall man leaned on our table. "You play a hell of a game, little star," he said. "That and the fact you're a kid gives you a pass. But remember your place. Next time, somewheres else, you might not get so lucky." He blew a kiss to everyone at our table and then turned and walked away. The other men strode out behind him. As they entered the bar, the jukebox jumped back into life. We heard a lot of laughter and the clinking of glasses. I sat there looking around at my teammates' faces. None of them moved. They were all staring at the table in front of them. They'd been beaten, not severely. They weren't injured enough to require a hospital, but they were cut and hurt. And I could feel their brokenness. Vigil cleared his throat and stood up.
Let's go.
We filed out silently and climbed into the van. Virgil motioned for me to join him in the front seat. We pulled out into the street and found a highway again. No one said a word. The smell of urine and spit was high in the air. Someone lit a cigarette, and the acrid bite of the smoke was relief. Virgil drove steadily west along the road that would take us home. Darkness fell. We drove in silence. There was no sound for miles except the hum of the wheels beneath us. We'd driven for hours before Virgil spoke. When he did, it was only 5 words. 5 words that scared me and angered me at the same time.
They pissed on us, Saul.
The miles flew by, and now and then we could hear a cough from the back of the van and the rustle of the bodies trying to sleep. As we passed White River around midnight, he told me what had happened.
When I got out back, they circled me. The first one came at me and we got into it. But all he did was punch me back and someone else grabbed me and spun me around and I got punched in the face. Then someone else grabbed me and gave me another shot. They pushed me around. They pushed me all around that circle, punching and kicking, and when I fell to the ground, dizzy, one of them stood over me and pissed on me. It was all the same for us.
Sat there without a clue about what to say. After about a few miles more, he spoke again.
But you know what the scariest thing was, Saul? There was no yelling, no cussing, no nothing. They did it silently, like it was an everyday thing. I never knew people could be that cold.
They hate us because we won.
They hate us because we were skins.
We didn't do anything.
We crossed the line, their line. They figured they got the right to make us pay for them.
Do they?
I don't know. Sometimes I think so.
Virgil?
Yeah,
I won't say nothing.
good. None of us will.
And we never did. There were moments when you could catch another boy's eye and know what you were both thinking about. Everything was contained in a glance. All the hurt, all the shame, all the rage. The white people thought it was their game. They thought it was their world. And the point of this powerful, powerful part of the book, which you will come to soon as you continue to read, makes a point. The white people thought it was their game, their world. most racism comes from white people. As a part of history, when white people went to take over different lands, colonize different lands, they thought that they were the superior race. They thought that they were the people who had the right to the world. But clearly this is the wrong way to think. She okay?
Can I feature it there?
Clearly this is not the right way to speak, or the right way to think. Racism is not only with white people, though. It can come from different people. And this is one thing that Jimmy would like to say to you today. This is one thing that Jimmy will speak to today. So I will give the class up to Jimmy now. And we'll just have some cards for you here. And I want you to write down questions and write down emotions that you feel when you hear Jimmy give his talk. Okay? So Jimmy, without further ado, thank you for all of your time and all of your contributions to this class. And the floor is yours, sir.
I know it's way down. Where I'm going to start is I'm going to introduce myself. Jimmy Thomas. I'm a residential school survivor. At the age of 6, in the month of August, late August, 1963, we were living in tent frames down by the McLeod's Point. down McLeod guys. 내가 위치했습니다. tent frames we got us in Chichun, but in Zidubajang style. If you ever get a chance to pick up that book there, I forgot the French essay by Dr. George Blackman. He happens to be my stepbrother, okay? He grew up in the same family with me. She adopted Eagle, my mom, before she got married. But anyway, go on. At the age of 6, without knowing, the people who were, our parents were met in Chicago to Mamstuchu. And Kavijay, they were met secretly by these white people, which I believe were Indian Affairs agents and RCMP. They came into our community and they met, our parents, and they told them what they were going to do. And the parents never told us what was going to happen. So all of a sudden, in the month of August, late August, there was this plane that came around. It was a big plane. Dropped in on Jet Moscow, I think 2 summers ago or 3 summers ago, Jiba Pangin plane side. The big guy go pack him. And guys not on you plane. But they're hung in. And all of a sudden they got snooks it on you wants to go shoots and I snooks not you wants to go shoots Genji Indian Affairs agencies and that's what's kind of the RCMP. They came in and they just grabbed us. And all my mother could do was pick up a paper bag. And that was my suitcase when I went to school. Now you see when somebody goes goes down south to go to school, they have big handbags, with rollers on them. But at that time when I left, I had a handbag. They had paper guys. One set of clothing, and they threw us on a plane. They didn't even give us a chance to say, bye mom, bye dad. We were just taken out from our homes. And barely, I can remember this. And we landed just outside of Lebrun, which I knew after where I was. And from there, they took us to the shore. They threw us on the bus. They took us to this big building. I guess job din on Gemma schools. He looked up the big building, residential school back there. And we were all lined up from the bus. We tickets lining up. Each one of us, it looked like if we were marked. GCBS가 있었는데. And you're going with that group. You're going with that group. And my brother was standing beside me. My brother who's a year older than me. And George Blacksmith. He's about 5 years older than me. And all of a sudden he was told, you, go and stand over there. Go with that group. You, go stand over there, Dangler, my brother said. Technically, you, go stand over there with those little people. That guy standing, not knowing what was happening. So I went up to them. All of a sudden, I could see we were separated. I didn't know where my brothers were. And in the middle of the night, middle of the night, you can hear young people like myself crying. We were crying out for our parents. And we were all saying, Kanji in the valley, God moved down, and we were told to shut up. Go to sleep. In English, because we didn't know what it meant. So this happened all night. Little boys, they were crying for their mom and dad, not knowing what was happening. And then, year after year, for about 3 years, this happened to us. We were just, scattered, not knowing where my sister was. Following years, they came with us, not knowing where they were. It was very hard. And when you do have that chance to meet them, the minute you were seen with your sister, it's my name's Jitsan. We were torn apart. We were told you can't see her. You can't see your brother. You can't see your sister. And all you could do from the other side of the building was wave at them. It was really hard. I was only 6 years old, not knowing what was happening to me in those first years of residential school. So as I got older, 10 years old, I started getting rebellious. That's how they taught us. How to be rebellious. We fought against the white people. Where we grew up, the only weapon we had in our community was slingshots. So knowing that you're still in India, knowing these things that you were given back home, to kill birds, we made these slingshots. Sometimes we would get them in the head and the leg, made them cry. We made these slingshots to defend ourselves. The white people were making fun of us. I've never got to understand I don't know if the two of you ever got to understand that word, cowish. What does it really mean? That was one word that was always thrown at us. Cowish. What does it really mean? But it was their way of telling us, more like, people that eat frogs or pigs, people that eat raw food, things like that. That's what I understood towards the end, but today I still don't really understand what it meant, cowish. What does it really mean? But those were the words that were throwing at us. We heard a lot about Vietnam, school because of our skin was different. My blanket, then in classroom, sometimes somebody, they had bitten it, and we beat it, we on the day, but Yabner and Juchi, my blanket, school, you little spitballs or things like that. You know, they used to throw those things at us. And we used to tell them, listen, we're gonna get you. Those are when we made slingshots and now the bigger ones. And we really hurted them, the opponent. Because what really happened was because of being called, a savage. So that's what we were taught, we were taught to be what we were called. That's what, the white people, don't let me offend you for what I'm saying. Of course, I'm using the white person, okay? Because that's what the white man taught us, spoke to us like we were savages. And sure enough, it got to us, and we started acting like that. We made these things, whenever they fought us, we used to go and cut a tree, a branch and things like that. We used to fight with these things, And to them, like they had hockey sticks. We only had like little branches, and we still defended ourselves. So. But as I was reading this book, and we were doing the role play. Eventually, when you got older, that's how it was too. Even going in the bars and getting all these kind of racist remarks. And I remember one time I was in Alma, Quebec, like St. John area, and I have two boys, they're adults now, but at that time they were young. And I guess some of you remember the Oka crisis during the time when it was happening. And I spaced big on. I was walking down the street, I was holding hands with my two boys, and my wife was in front of me. And sure enough, those were in the days of Oka crisis. Sure enough, as I was walking down the street with my two boys, this white person comes out of the bar, starts yelling at me, starts saying all kinds of things. Thanks my grass. You know, guys, Indians are stupid, What do you think you're trying to prove? But what's happening over there? And I tried to explain to this guy. I said, those are Mohawks or Crees. He didn't care what I was telling him. He just looked at the color of your skin. They're still Indians. They're still Indians. And I just walked away, and I just, holding my boys, their hands, walking down the street. And sometimes I look back, to make sure this guy doesn't follow. I was ready for him, because that's how I was taught, And either one of us was lucky. I was lucky. I walked out peacefully, walked away peacefully, and he could have been lucky what I could have done to him. It really triggers you, isn't it? After getting that, even as a young little boy growing up, getting all these remarks, and being called, savage, cowardice. It really gets to you. But as you get older, it's saying, I start to understand what was happening. There's positive things and negative things going to a residential school. Most important thing, which was very positive for me, was I had a good education. If I had never followed that, sometimes I wonder who would I be today? After my education, I had a lot of good jobs. I'm a former police officer. I worked at Utility Services for 16 years as an educator. Following 7 years, I was a social worker. Still under the SNEJO program, which I love so much doing, working with young people and families. And even as of today, I still work for the past part-time under the Wisconsin Justice Panel. I still work with youth, young people that go in and out of juvenile detentions, in and out, go, even adults that come from in and out of detentions. I still work with them. But the most important thing for me to recognize now is I understand, about the residential school. As a survivor, that's what I say to myself. I'm a survivor, even for all the things that happened to me because of school. Uji did the good thing. Georgia, we can eat myself. Jimayim going to get it. School. Which change on the guy that start going to Nichigo. Maybe one day sit down with them. That experience that I saw to me. Discuss thoughts with my parents. How they speak. How they do all the dog. You down over that, you might have that. Stage one, you even kind of see you get that. It's kind of sit. We might be a bit sitting by. It's a document. Being a racist. To me, yeah, it is systematic. Racist. It's when I went down the start with like an opposite we go in like an opposite. And this an opposite way. Much are we at the spite at that way. Much are when we let's say walk up. And it's kind of she's which wants to shoot and to dog, Which and to dog. And to dog wants to shoot. Why much did you do it on the racist part camp? You see, I grew up in a residential school. For 9 years in Jitan in a residential school, and 3 years in Ottawanti school. See, when I was in residential school in Latuk, I bet you attack from Latuk. Jitan Nabit schools, Nabit schools. I got out school though. Yeah, it's a school from down south. I did 2 years ambassador in Jitan now. When you nice guy walk out. NG, I got school down. We make fun of these people. What we've heard down south, we related that to them. We told them, you guys are good for nothing. You guys don't have education like we do. We're gonna have good jobs. And guys, when it's tweets again, Kanto hosts again, said, all kinds of things to hurt these people. But they fought back with them. In Latuk school, we were taught how to fight them. They taught us like karate, jiu-jitsu, judo, anything down south, self-defense. And that's what we used when we came back. We fought that. We used those things, when we were taught that.
I'm sorry,
These people.
sorry to interrupt. We're gonna have to just cut it a little short now because the bell is ringing. But if you guys have any questions for Jimmy, he's gonna be here throughout next class into lunch. So the questions you guys have written down or the emotions you have written down, you can come share with Jimmy at lunchtime. So I encourage you to do so because his experiences, his stories are an invaluable contribution to this school and your learning about racism. Okay? So thank you, Jimmy. Thank you very much for your time and all your work for us. I really appreciate it, and stick around for next class if that's okay with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you more time this class, by the way.
Okay.